ladies and gentlemen, to Random Wrestling Talk, episode number 7. We're going to go over some of the news going around in pro wrestling. I have a big cover story that I'd like to talk about. As you guys could see in the thumbnail, I mentioned about Bobby Lashley and his injury. Rachel Buck, by the way, thank you for that information. The same day of reporting that information to me about Bobby Lashley dealing with injury. I actually did not know that until afterwards. Really, no information came out about this until after the event was over, surprisingly. So, to me, I'm not... from what I'm hearing, though, is Bobby Lashley has got a shoulder injury issue, and he may need surgery for this. In that case, he's going to have to be out for 4 months, which means he's not going to be able to show up for WrestleMania. On top of that, if they do decide to go in that direction of bringing him into WrestleMania, the chances are is that we are going to see Bobby Lashley go one-on-one with Seth Rollins. The believed reason to do that is because of the fact that Seth Rollins powerbombed Austin Theory through the pod and supposedly injured Bobby Lashley in this situation, storyline-wise, I should say. So that's what's going on. Let me go into Rachel Buck's comments. She left quite a few comments before I even came on the... sorry about that. I heard a clicking noise in my room. She left a couple of comments before we went live here on the channel, so I'll go ahead and read those comments. Rachel Buck goes on to say, it looks like Cody might be going to WWE because WWE is bringing up Cody a lot on Raw. They keep saying his theme song, even Edge wants to face Cody. Yeah, it does look like that. I'm really leaning towards the stories are true. This is not speculation anymore. I think this is more towards fact and fiction or guessing at this point. So I'm definitely going to roll with that Cody is part of WWE. Why he's with WWE, I have no idea because he literally could not stand. He could not stand the situation that he had with WWE before he left. So him going back it's kind of weird. But there's been situations like Drew McIntyre who came back, looked good for a while. Unfortunately, he did not maintain that momentum. He lost that momentum. And Cody might be a possibility for Brock Lesnar. I'm throwing this out there. There's no facts to this. I'm just shooting speculation to you guys. Cody might be Brock Lesnar's opponent for the WWE Championship. And I don't think that's going to happen. I'm just speculating here, so don't take it for fact here when I say that. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I think that would be kind of fun. But bottom line, I don't see Cody really amounting to anything in the WrestleMania of things right now, unless they're going to do a Cody versus Edge or a Cody versus Seth Rollins. Those are the only 2 matches I'd even look at with Cody Rhodes going up against anyone into WrestleMania. And Cody and Seth Rollins, I don't know. Cody and Seth Rollins would be a little bit more difficult. I already brought that up on the Raw review from yesterday. I stated maybe Seth Rollins goes ahead. He's doing his promo on a Monday Night Raw episode after this tag team title opportunity slips through their fingers between him and Kevin Owens. And basically Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins kind of go their separate ways without any kind of grueling feud between the two of them. They just decide to split, and that's it. And leave it at that. But what I am saying here is, I think that personally, that Cody going up against Seth Rollins would be good, because Seth Rollins could have a night where he's doing a promo and just Cody shows up out of nowhere and steals the spotlight. Makes Seth Rollins really upset. You can even make Seth Rollins a possible face at this point, because a lot of people are kind of confused. Is Seth Rollins a face? Is Seth Rollins a heel? Same with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens kind of been going back and forth, back and forth. One minute he's playing a face role on television, the next minute he's playing a heel role in the last 2 to 3 months now. It's been very odd and weird. I'm not quite understanding this. It's very strange. So it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, my personal opinions, I think Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes would be another great match. Monday Night Raw technically has the ability to have the best matchups for WrestleMania. If you really want to look at this on both ends, Raw and SmackDown, they have the potential of making real, true WrestleMania matchups. I mean, like I just said, Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, Edge versus AJ Styles. And then you got Randy Orton and Matt Riddle in a feud between the two of them after Randy Orton turns on Matt Riddle. That would be a great 3-set lineup. And they're all feuds. They're not even championships. That would be excellent. And you don't get that too often with a WWE pay-per-view. Usually it's always about the feud over a championship that means absolutely fucking nothing. And it is what it is, you know. But yeah, those 3 matches right there on Monday Night Raw sets them apart from SmackDown. SmackDown really doesn't have nothing going on in a feud between stars, to be honest with you. The only thing I could see on SmackDown side, and I've been throwing this out there, is Sami Zayn versus Ricochet for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. That match I would be highly interested in for that match to take place. But overall, guys, SmackDown side of things really doesn't have nothing going on going into WrestleMania. This is very sad for SmackDown. They are really just in a slump altogether. I mean, it's sad for me even come on here yesterday to say Raw was an okay show. It was passable. I couldn't believe that shit. But then again, still Raw had its issues. I mean, you could still see a lot of flaws. Nothing is being changed about this product. Vince McMahon is leaving it the way it is. That's it. So, I don't know. Anyway, let me go into some of the other comments Rachel Buck had to say here. Rachel Buck also says, I do hope Cody comes to WWE and not lie to us fans. But Tim from PW Unlimited said, according to Dave Meltzer on today's We're Live Pal, he stated that Cody sent him a one-line message that basically states it's time to leave the territory. Okay. Well, I guess that's a sign that he's definitely crossed over to the dark side. I'm sorry, Rachel Buck. I know you're a fan of WWE, but I'm not. I love WWE, but I'm not a fan of this product. This product and this way of conducting business it really has not been something I've enjoyed. It's been very difficult for me to actually watch Raw and SmackDown on a weekly basis, to give you guys a review every single week on a weekly basis. So it makes it very difficult for me to want to continuously tune in to these episodes when there's nothing different about them. They feel like reruns almost. And that's where my issue with them, with WWE is. Will I ever turn my back on WWE? No, not really, unless they make a horrible mistake, like make Goldberg champion against Roman Reigns, which they didn't. So I'm very thankful of that. So far, they haven't done anything stupid. Brock Lesnar should not be beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Let's get that straight. Roman Reigns should be losing to an upcoming star, not a Rock, not anyone else. I've already picked my guy I would go ahead and build around, and that's Matt Riddle. Plain and fucking simple. Matt Riddle is a legit wrestler. Matt Riddle is a legit fighter. He knows about actual fighting. And he's there on a week-to-week basis. He's highly entertaining when he's actually wrestling. His gimmick, I don't particularly like it. I want to see a serious Matt Riddle, and I think Randy Orton will be the key for us to see that kind of character come out of him. But the way Vince McMahon thinks, he needs to start realizing, yeah, you're getting a ton, and I mean a ton of money. I mean, he earned $1 billion in, I believe it was a quarter or within the year. Whichever case it is, the man's earned a lot of money. And I get that, but let's be real, man. You got to go ahead and give a little to the fans. Give a shit about your talent. Care about your business. You give a shit about making money. How are you supposed to continue to make money if you're treating your workers like crap? I mean, it makes no sense. And that's just the way I feel about it. And that's why I'm not a huge fan like I used to be. Personally, I'll be honest with all of you guys. I think that AEW would be squashed by WWE if WWE actually took their product seriously. But then again, AEW wouldn't need to exist if WWE took their product seriously. We would see a Kenny Omega. We would see a Cody Rhodes come back to WWE and want to embrace WWE again with open arms. We would see the Young Bucks. I mean, all this talent would want to flock over to WWE. And then again, the smaller promotions would actually be bigger. Let's get real, guys. Before AEW even showed up, Ring of Honor was building some momentum. They were showing up in 3,000 seated arenas. They were doing pretty well. They even sold out fucking Madison Square Garden in 2019 with New Japan Wrestling. You see WWE doing that right now? That's a fucking laugh in a nutshell, man. They ain't doing shit. From last I heard, their Madison Square Garden event for March 5th barely even sold out. They barely have come close to selling that fucking place out, man. That is sad. This is Madison Square Garden, the mecca of all places. That's all there is to it, man. It really is. And to anyone that's a WWE fan, I apologize to you guys. Because bottom line, I want to say something positive about WWE. But how can I? I can't. I really can't. You know? And that I feel bad that I can't say that. But I really can't. It's a terrible product. Anyway, moving on with these chats, and then I got to get into some other news. I'm also going to bring up about a new series added to the channel starting on Mondays. I'll be doing Monday Night Raw episodes, reviews on Thursday nights, but I'm going to introduce a new series to the channel starting next Monday. So I'm going to go over that with you guys after I go through these chats and a few other news articles that I like to bring up. So let me go over these last few chats. Rachel Buck says, is it me or is Brock Lesnar acting like he is young again? Because this is not the Brock that would scream and not say anything. I don't know. Brock Lesnar is doing his own thing now. He doesn't have Paul Heyman as his mouthpiece. And personally, I like the run they're doing with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is legitimately earning his money. He's there every single week doing some kind of hype up for a match. He's everywhere on this show. He's on Raw or he's on SmackDown. He is highly involved in this product. Comparison to what he used to do, he's done a lot. And I am extremely happy with what Brock Lesnar's been doing and willing to do to help maintain the audience that WWE has, which isn't all that much comparison to what they've had 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I got to give him a lot of kudos for his ethic to want to continuously show up week after week to hype up and build this match between him and Roman Reigns. I'm really enjoying what he has to offer. So, and Rachel Buck also says same as Finn Balor. I'm not sure. Finn Balor, he was highlighted on Raw last night. I was impressed by that. I don't know what the hell Vince McMahon's all of a sudden decided to highlight Finn Balor on his television show, but I guess kudos to him, I guess. I don't know. All right, so moving on here, we had Matt 87 Eagle. He had to say this. Lashley was injured before the Elimination Chamber. I doubt we'll see him for the next 4 to 6 months. That is correct. They're already mentioning that he's going to have shoulder surgery, so it's probably going to take him about 4 months. He might be able to show up a little sooner, depending on how well he can rehab the shoulder. Matt also goes on to say Cody is just another body on the Reigns trophy wall after WrestleMania. You're probably right, but hey, Cody being in a rivalry with Roman Reigns, I'm totally cool with. I really am. So Matt goes on to say, I wouldn't be surprised if WWE to waste Cody's return on some random-ass episode of Raw a week before WrestleMania. Matt, I really hope you're wrong about that, because that would really, really suck. That would be a terrible way to go ahead and introduce Cody Rhodes and bring him in a week before the fucking pay-per-view, not have him on the WrestleMania card, and then just highlight him in a random episode a week before the fucking pay-per-view for WrestleMania. That's idiotic. I hope you're wrong about that. That would be ridiculous. So Matt 87 Eagle goes on to say, sadly, we're getting Zayn versus Jackass for IC Championship. That's Johnny Knoxville. I've heard the rumors about that, but if you watch SmackDown, which I know you don't, Matt, they actually had a backstage kind of like a backstage thing going on. Ricochet was talking to Aaliyah, and then when Ricochet kind of left the camera and went off to do something else backstage, Sami Zayn came in and he started talking some shit to Aaliyah. And Aaliyah and Ricochet, before he came in, seemed like they were getting some chemistry going on. I don't know if this is going to be like a on-screen relationship type of deal between Aaliyah and Ricochet, where Aaliyah is his manager or something like that. But that's why I was throwing that out there with the Ricochet versus Sami Zayn match for the IC Championship. This seems to make a little bit more sense than fucking Johnny Knoxville. Like, can we get away from the Johnny Knoxville match? Like, I don't really care to see Johnny Knoxville compete for an IC Championship match. It's absolutely fucking dumb. Like, who gives a shit? You know? It's fucking garbage. I don't like that match. I think that idea, I hope, gets nixed. I hope nobody gives a fuck about it. And I hope it comes to a complete end. Matt 87 Eagle goes on to say, that's obvious. If WWE still had the mentality it had during the Attitude Era, no other company could think of touching them. Well, there you go. I mean, even Matt 87 Eagle agrees with me on that. And bottom line, it's the truth, man. I mean, WWE is slacking. They're slackers. If you ever watch Back to the Future, there you go. There's a nice little movie reference. They're just slackers, okay? And they're not trying. And hell, they're not even cheating to try. As Eddie Guerrero used to say, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. So just to throw a little wrestling humor in there. But I mean, let's get real, guys. WWE should be on the top of the world with all the money that they're getting and on top of the talent that they've had in the past. They should be dominating the fucking shit out of pro wrestling. They should be highly loved by everybody. And their ratings should be reading up to like 3 to 5 million people a week every time they're on TV. And they're not. So, I don't know, man. I really don't. I find this to be absolutely ridiculous how WWE continues to drop the ball and just be a complete, utter joke. Black Hats, good evening, sir. Glad you could join us, man. Black Hats also went on to say, I finally got Peacock for free for a year yesterday. Gee, I wish I could get Peacock for free. Did you pay like an annual one-time payment deal where you don't have to pay anything for a month-to-month deal, Black Hats? Let me know in the chat, and I'll respond back, I guess. Not that I guess it probably isn't that relevant. I mean, congratulations for getting Peacock though, for free for a year. Now I got it from a deal website. Oh, cool. Wish I could get Peacock for a year. Wouldn't have to fucking worry about paying any of the shit out for WWE's garbage. But Peacock also has other things. They have some TV shows, 2.5 Men, Kings of Queens, some other movies I haven't even checked out yet. I mean, I got so much fucking content of movies, television, wrestling, God knows. So, Black Hat's ass is which is better than nothing. Do you own a cable? Do I have my own cable? Yes, I do, actually. I have YouTube TV. I will never use digital cable ever again, like a Spectrum, Verizon Bios, none of that shit, ever. I find it to be a complete waste of money. And not to mention, with YouTube TV or a smaller streaming service that gets cable, it is a hell of a lot cheaper. And it shows the same shit you would get with a regular cable service anyway. Cable, in a nutshell, is crap. I only use cable, truthfully, to be able to stream and watch the wrestling shows live. I mean, I could get the AEW Plus on Fight TV if I just stream it off my phone, because I have a VPN service so that I can go ahead and be able to watch the Dynamite shows without any cable service whatsoever. So that's just the way I feel about it. But other, like, Raw and SmackDown, I will never be able to watch it live personally or DVR it unless I have YouTube TV. So that's the reason I truthfully have cable of any at all personally, because television is trash. If you look at the way television is produced, like, look at this. I remember last weekend they showed a movie. I'm trying to remember. Tombstone. Okay, one movie I can remember that they reshowed multiple times. Tombstone was one of them. For example, Tombstone was actually shown on Saturday night. I think it was around 8 o'clock. And then the next day on Sunday, they showed it early afternoon and rescheduled everything that they showed that night with Tombstone along with it and just moved it up further into the schedule of the day into like the early afternoon. And that is just like, what the fuck? It just sounds like WWE does the same thing with their match booking. They just look at Bianca Belair and Doudrop. I was going to say Doudrop. I mean, if you look at their actual match setup, their booking for these matches every week, it's the same thing like how the television stations schedule the movies. They don't give you a variety of different movies and different titles to watch per day. I remember back in the day when you watched cable, you could get fucking God knows what at any point in time. Like they'll play one movie one night and the next day they'll show something completely different in the afternoon. They won't re-show the same fucking movie. If you missed it that night when it was scheduled to be there, tough luck, man. Hope you had a VCR and record it with your VHS tape and your VHS, because guess what? You missed it. That's it. That's the way cable used to work. Now they just re-show shit over and over and over again to the point of nauseum. I mean, it literally gets nauseating just watching the same fucking movie over and over again. I mean, it's ridiculous. And that's the way WWE seems to book their matches too, which is really weird. I don't know what the fuck they're doing lately, but what am I talking about? They've been booking terrible shows for the last 5 years or so. Are you kidding? Jeez. Matt87 Eagle says, I remember the last time you were hype. You remember the last time you were hyped for a WrestleMania build? God knows I don't. Last time I was hyped for a WrestleMania build? Oh, fuck. It was a while ago. WrestleMania 33 was pretty good. I mean, as the matches go, but as the overall build towards it, no, the hype towards that was fucking terrible. WrestleMania 34, trash. I mean, we had Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns for the second time at WrestleMania. There was nothing big going on there. Though the hype up towards that match compared to their match at WrestleMania 31 was, at 34 was better than WrestleMania 31's build. I mean, the last thing that they showed was fucking Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns holding the WWE Championship as if they were trying to steal it or having a tug of war with it as their last hoorah build into WrestleMania. That's pretty fucking pathetic. My last WrestleMania that I was highly interested in was WrestleMania 30. That's truth. I mean, you had John Cena and Bray Wyatt's build was really entertaining. You had Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, which was good. The build with Daniel Bryan against the Authority and Randy Orton Batista, excellent. Fuck, even the world champion and the challenger Batista were background noise to Daniel Bryan and Triple H. If anything, Triple H and Daniel Bryan should have been the fucking main event of WrestleMania over a world championship. I mean, that's sad in a nutshell as well. So, I don't know, man. I really don't. But yeah, WrestleMania 30 was my last pay-per-view WrestleMania build that I was really hyped up for. To answer your question, Matt. Just reverting back to Matt's answer towards me, what I just stated. Wow, 8 years. WWE should be ashamed of themselves. You're correct. I agree with you on that one, man. All right, going back to Black Hats, he said, my bro, and I'm thinking getting Apple TV once we cancel Spectrum. Bro, cancel Spectrum as soon as you can because Spectrum is trash. They're overpriced garbage. I would never get their shit. They give you 1 year of a promotion where it's like $49.99, which is what they've been advertising here where I live. And then after that 1 year, God knows what the price will be after that. So, and then also with fees and the money you have to pay for the fucking, for the, whatchamacallit, for the cable boxes is outrageous. And then on top of it, you got to pay for the modem if you get internet connection with them. So, there you go. All right, so Black Hats goes on to say that 3 hours of Raw is saddens me, but Vince can't do nothing about it because the company's got more rights and planning. Rights and planning, and Vince only thing he wants is this money and more money. I'm assuming, or people throwing up. That emoji seemed a little weird, but all right. It looked like the throw up. Then Black Hats also states that I read somewhere that at the time when WWF was beating WCW, WCW released 70 wrestlers from 1998 to 2001. Well, that seems a little bit more reasonable than what WWE's done in the last, I don't know, year or two. I mean, they released almost 100 fucking people. And WCW had a reason to release all those people, Black Hats. They were going out of business. They were literally losing money. Every single year, they were losing millions of dollars. WWE, thankfully, is not doing that, but the one problem with that is they're also not producing compelling television. They're just throwing shit at us and saying, here you go, enjoy this. And if you don't like it, I don't care. I'm making money off of others' sponsors. If Vince McMahon did not have sponsors, other ways of selling his streaming services, the Saudis giving him money for these WrestleMania rip-off bootleg events and all this shit, I mean, they wouldn't have shit, really, to be honest with you. And these television stations like Fox and USA Network forking out millions upon billions of dollars is just, what the fuck? Like, really, what the hell are you doing, man? You're gonna fork out all that fucking money? Jeez. That's a retarded thing to do. If I was Fox, I wouldn't pay up towards fucking WWE. I'd give money to AEW. They're actually a sport. They treat their show like it's a sport. WWE treats their show like a fucking 3-ring circus. I mean, give me a break, man. It's fucking ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, guys. Even though I shit on WWE, I would like to come on here and say something positive about them. Really, I would. I don't want to shit on them. I'm a fan of theirs. I will openly admit, yes, I go on to the Peacock Network and I'll watch something that took place 4 or 5 years ago, if it was at least decent. I've come on here from time to time for a pay-per-view event and said they did a decent job with something, and I would go back and watch it again. But the bottom line is, they're only doing sometimes, and I mean sometimes, producing a good wrestling pay-per-view. And that's once in a while. These last 3 pay-per-views that have come out, Day 1, Royal Rumble, and Elimination Chamber for this year, have been terrible. Day 1 was the best one, and guess what? The weird part is Roman Reigns was out for COVID. The whole thing was in shambles because of that. And then on top of that, the whole thing was just lackluster. Fans weren't interested in it. Nobody gave a shit. But it had the best wrestling out of the bunch. Fucking Royal Rumble had just the 2 World Championship matches that I was interested in. And other than that, the rest of the show was garbage. The 2 Royal Rumbles, the women did a better job in the Royal Rumble for them than the men. And the same thing goes for the Elimination Chamber. The women did a better job in that than the men. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I know maybe some of you might come on here either later on after this video is done or in the live stream and may debate with me, hey, what are you talking about? What the fuck are you talking about, man? The Elimination Chamber of the women absolutely made no sense. Well, here's my explanation of why I'm saying it was okay to me compared to the men. It wasn't predictable. Everyone didn't look like they were being buried. I mean, look at what Brock Lesnar did. He eliminated Seth Rollins, Matt Riddle, AJ Styles, the 3 biggest names in the group, and he beat every fucking one of them. And guess what else that's neat? I predicted that. I predicted he was going to come in there and beat every fucking person in that match. Now, I didn't know that Bobby Lashley was dealing with injury going into this match, so I was unaware of that. But bottom line, I mean, let's get real, guys. Fucking WWE did a terrible job with the men's Elimination Chamber and the Royal Rumble. Very lackluster. And the Elimination Chamber was basically a reenactment of the Royal Rumble with the last few guys that were left, with Brock Lesnar showing up in the match and just throwing everyone out of the ring. So, whatever. Black Cats, I appreciate you stopping by. You go ahead, man. Have a good night. Enjoy your dinner. I'll speak to you later, man. Thank you for coming on in. I'll read the rest of your comments in the chat. And I'll watch your stream later. Okay, no problem, man. Speak to you later. Leave a comment in the comment section down below when you get done if you want to say anything else, man. You know the deal. Anyway, I mean, I don't have but one person watching me. This is really not a damn. Well, I had about 4 or 5 people. I guess a lot of people were interested in the Cody Rhodes story. This big thing about Bobby Lashley, nobody gives a flying fuck about. But no worries. I mean, everybody will stop on in to catch the stream later on, possibly. Maybe nobody else was able to show up for the actual stream. I know I only put this about an hour before I was supposed to do it. But I kind of wanted to relax, chill out a little bit, play some video games before I uploaded this for notification for you guys. I figured it wouldn't make a difference, but apparently it does. Usually in most cases, immediately after I'm done with work, I'll post a notification letting you guys know that the stream is taking place about 2 or 3 hours before it's supposed to take place. So my bad. I apologize. Anyone that happened to miss it, I apologize. But yeah, I'm going to go over a few other things that I came across that I kind of found interesting on NoDQ.com. Let me go ahead and go back over there. One thing that was mentioned that I came across that I found very interesting was that The Rock feels that Montez Ford could become a future world champion one day. I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the comment that was made on this article. So in a post on Instagram, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson responded to praise was given to him by Montez Ford during an interview. Just taking a moment to tell this man, Montez Ford, how much I appreciate his kind and beautiful words. We've never shared the ring together, but pro wrestlers all have a very special bond. Pro wrestling, see, he's using the word wrestling. See that, guys? He's using the word wrestling. This is a very interesting topic here. Rock is saying wrestling. Vince McMahon doesn't like the word wrestling ever to be used. That's fucked up, man. That really is. Anyway, moving on. Pro wrestling is a very unique, intense, and wild culture that's not for everybody. When you love the wrestling business, you become very respectful about the wrestling business. Gee, Vince, you ought to take some of the lines that The Rock is saying and take that in consideration, would you, please? I mean, us fans appreciate wrestling. We respect what those guys do in the middle of that ring. Maybe you ought to try doing that too, you know? Fucking douchebag. Anyway, moving on. And when you're respectful about the wrestling business, you become passionate about the wrestling business. Oh my goodness! Another word of recommendation to Vince McMahon. If you didn't know any better, you'd think The Rock was talking to Vince McMahon in this Instagram comment. Holy shit! This is quite amazing stuff. Vince, you ought to be taking some fucking notes, you dumbass. Anyway, so moving on, fans can always sense who's passionate inside the square circle and who's not. Too bad Vince doesn't acknowledge that at all. This man is passionate. We share that DNA. And he flies like a super fly, like Jimmy Snuka. He keep kicking the ass, brother, and give my love to your family. And when you become world champion one day, I'll be right there rooting you on. Yeah, I think under the control of good old Brock, he would have a shot at becoming a world champion someday. But under the rule of Vince McMahon, he can consider himself fucked, personally. As a tag team wrestler, as a singles competitor, every which way you turn it, he's screwed. Because everybody in this company is screwed, personally. So, I don't know, man. I really don't. But anyway, that was what The Rock had to say. And I found that to be very interesting. Him stating that wrestling is something you have to be passionate about. And by being passionate, the fans will acknowledge that. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff by The Rock. I mean, personally, I think that The Rock is a true wrestling fan. He's not bullshit. And he loves the business. And Vince McMahon don't care two shits about the business at all. And if you notice throughout that entire comment, that entire Instagram comment, he said wrestling, not sports entertainment, not just entertainment, wrestling. I mean, come on, man. If Vince can't acknowledge what he does for his business is a wrestling business, then sorry, Vince, you're in denial. You ought to go start running your own reality TV shows and get the fuck out of Dodge and give the company over to someone who actually cares instead of being a douchebag, you know? Anyway, let's move into the comments that were made here. Some of what Black Cat had to say before he needed to get off the live stream. Black Hat said, I already stated about him reading somewhere WCW released 70 wrestlers from 1998 to 2001. He also says, now fast forward to 20 years from now, and WWE releases 84 wrestlers in 1 year. It is beyond me. I totally agree with you, Black Hats. He also says, if Fox would have AEW, it's game over for WWE. SmackDown belongs on Sci-Fi Network for sure. I agree, man. I really do. I think that the business, in a nutshell, if AEW would have went to Fox instead of TNT, and SmackDown had nowhere else to go but to Sci-Fi or the USA Network, I really think that AEW would be flourishing even more. But they're doing a good job with TNT. The only problem is they're just not getting enough enough viewership where they're not maintaining the audience. That's where the real issue's coming from. So I don't know what the major issue is with that, but yeah, this was it's really sucks what AEW is going through lately. So I don't know, man. Anyway, moving on to the final thing I want to talk about. It seems like nobody is actually here on the live stream. Oh, somebody just showed up. I think it's Matt87 Eagle. He generally watches the show live while he's doing other things he wants to do while he chills out. So if that's you, Matt, I appreciate you stopping by. Daniel, I was talking to you in the chat, or not in the chat, but in the comment section for Raw review from last night. I told you about that. I hope you can stop by. If not, I'll speak to you when I can speak to you, whenever you want to comment on the video. Yeah, let me go into this new series, and then I'm going to kind of close up shop because it seems like there's not a whole lot to talk about wrestling since Cody Rhodes' information has kind of died down, and there hasn't been a whole lot of anything going on. I just don't see the point of going a full hour here, so I'm going to cut it short. But let me go over one thing and one thing only. My new series that's coming out, and I know that nobody's going to be able to state this in the chat, but I'll ask you guys personally. I am planning to start a new series on Monday nights. Instead of doing Raw reviews on Monday nights, I'll watch Raw whenever I can throughout the week and then review it on Thursday. But my thought would be to ask you guys. I'm doing a series called Pay-Per-View of the Week is what it's going to be called. And since I'm not too high on Monday Night Raw, and I don't want to watch it live, truthfully, I really would rather go back and watch a pay-per-view and then give you guys my feelings on the show and how it went down during that time. It can be anything from Impact Wrestling from its TNA days to I have Impact Plus, so if you guys want me to review anything from Impact or TNA related content, I'll be more than happy to fulfill that request for you guys. NXT, I will definitely do, like any of the NXT takeover shows. I will definitely do that. WWE pay-per-views, of course. AEW, from what they've done so far, I have no problem going back and rewatching those pay-per-view events that I've purchased and then go over it again. Maybe I'll get a different feel towards it than I did initially the first time. Independent wrestling shows that I could pick up on. I mean, I'll definitely try to look into that. Ring of Honor, that's another promotion. I have their streaming service, so if you guys want me to go over any Ring of Honor pay-per-view event that occurred that I can get access to, I'll definitely do that. I prefer staying away from anything that's like 2010 or anything that from that time or before 2010, because I don't think Ring of Honor's streaming website has that. But anything from like 2011 on up, if you guys want me to review that and you're aware of the event, I'll be more than happy to watch and then give you guys my opinion on it. So in the comments section down below, or whoever's here, I see the one person, if you'd like to leave a comment in the chat, that one person, I think, Matt, you're here watching. If you are, you can leave a comment in the chat of the pay-per-view event that you would want me to review the first time. I'm actually leaning towards the NXT TakeOver event from New York in 2019 when Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole went one-on-one for the NXT World Championship. But if there is anyone that is interested in me reviewing something else other than that, please leave a comment down below letting me know of the event that you're interested in me reviewing at that point in time, so that I can take the time to research to see if I can get that for you guys or not. So if you guys would like, leave a comment down below about that for the very first pay-per-view you guys would like me to go ahead and review. Whoever states a pay-per-view that intrigues me the most to go back and watch, I'll definitely do it. If there's a lot of people requesting the same pay-per-view multiple times, I'll definitely watch it then at that point. But that is pretty much it. Matt, really? December to dismember? I mean, if you want to get a fucking rant out of me, I'll be more than happy to give you that. I mean, December to dismember is definitely a rant pay-per-view type of event to review. So December to dismember, okay, Matt, I'll give you what you want. I'll go ahead and I'll review that. I have no problem coming on here and shitting the fucking crap out of it, because that is just, you want to talk about the Elimination Chamber of this year being shit. That was fucking terrible. I think that was probably worse than this year's Elimination Chamber, if you want to get honest. This is fucking ridiculous. December to dismember. What are you, fucking on drugs, Matt? What the hell? Shit. But there's pay-per-views worse than that. I mean, worse than that. Nobody, and I mean nobody, better not ask me to review Battleground 2017. If you guys ask that, I will not fucking do it. I will not sit through 3+ hours of that shit. With the great Khali getting a match, oh no. I could not do that. I would want to shoot myself first before I fucking review that shit. No way in hell. I will never review Battleground 2017. That was probably by far the worst pay-per-view of all time that I can remember. There was one pay-per-view that recently took place, but I can't remember the fucking name of it. It was just recent. Oh yeah, Survivor Series of 2021. Oh fuck no. I will never review that ever on this channel. I mean, it's one thing if the pay-per-view is subpar, partially bad, but when you go to the depths of like Battleground of 2017 or fucking Survivor Series of 2021, no fucking way. I ain't reviewing that shit. No way in hell. I noticed that there's 2 other people that just showed up. Just to recap with you guys, I will be doing a pay-per-view of the week series on a Monday night. Every single Monday night, I will go over a pay-per-view that I either picked, or if you guys would like a request for that event for me to cover, I'll be more than happy to cover it with you. So anyone else that wants to leave a comment, go ahead and let me know. Deonta Roberts states, I enjoy watching your content, bro. FWWE. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, though, if anyone wants a request for an actual event for me to cover, leave it in the chat right now or in the comments down below if you happen to watch this after the live stream ends. But yeah, I'm welcome. I'm all for anyone to inform me of what kind of event they want me to review for that night, for Monday night, to replace Raw, so I don't have to watch it live and I can just skip whatever the hell I want, so I don't have to torture myself. Because I don't think that Raw is going to be like it was last night. That really shocked the hell out of me that I actually sat there and told you guys I didn't have an issue watching the fucking show, despite the fact it was still showing some really terrible flaws in it that any person with a brain could tell. So anyway, guys, I have nothing else more to say at this time. I do appreciate you guys for the few that did come in and say hi, and wanted to just shoot the shit with me. I appreciate that. Please leave any comments down below about the pay-per-view of the week, or if you guys want to discuss anything wrestling-related news that you want to talk to me about personally, I'll be more than happy to do that. Also, thank you to the 2 people that hit the like button for this video. Again, guys, if you happen to watch this after the live stream ends, hit the like button. It really helps me out a lot. I appreciate it. And on top of that, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed with the channel. And I appreciate your time. I hope you guys have a great night. Speak to you later. Bye.